I'm Joel Jacks with BMC's Technical Marketing for BCM. Yes, we like our acronyms here, so hopefully we don't get you too confused with that. But as we talk about what BCM, or the BMC Client Management Tool, is, we want to give you kind of a background of why we brought that in with Remedy and are integrating it with the product, because we feel like they're two great products, and by bringing them together, we're giving some extra meat to your service desk. So one of the things that we really find in a service desk is the complexity. We're training people on how to use the product. We're trying to train them on not only Remedy, but on our remote desktop solution and our CMDB and all these different other solutions that we have to maintain. And it gets more and more complex. We're spending a lot of time training our agents on how to use multiple things. And there's all various sources that we need to get information from. The second big thing is the endpoint risk. As we get more of a complex environment, these endpoints get more and more at risk because we may lose sight of some of the endpoints that are out there. We talked to one of our customers who manages a bunch of different endpoints. We did a scan for them with the BCM client, and they were able to see that they had some Windows 98 boxes that they had no idea even existed out there. And so that is a huge risk for them. And then the end user experience. When an end user calls up and they want to have their problems resolved and those things taken care of for them, we're spending more and more time trying to figure out how to solve that issue. It can sometimes really make the end user have a pretty poor experience with IT. So by bringing Remedy and BCM together, we're really delivering this digital workspace that we're talking about. These mistakes happen when endpoint management is done manually, when there's all these devices, everything like that. So by not keeping this information in one place, a lot of IT service desks are really not giving a digital workspace to their customers. They're really giving a very manual interface. And then being able to manage this from end to end, from purchasing all the way through the final disposal of the product from within the service desk, gives us that capability to do it in one tool as opposed to training on a bunch of different tools. And then keeping control of these endpoints, making sure that they're up to date, they're patched. We know what we have, we know what needs to be done to those, and we can maintain these on an automated process. Instead of having to manually send somebody out there to do all these different things, we are able to manage this within one product, take care of our issues, and make sure everything is up to date. So when you look at BCM, one of our key strengths is our integrations. So we're just announcing the integration with Remedy, Remedy 9 Smart IT, and the My IT Service Broker. But we also integrate with the Footprints Service Core products, with Remedy Force, with the Atrium CMDB, and there's other integrations that we're coming out with. And not only is that, but one of the things our customers always seem to come back to is not only is it a powerful tool, but it's easy to use. We look at SCCM. Most of our customers with Remedy have SCCM installed in their environment, and so we're able to show them how much easier it is to use this than SCCM. Being an SCCM administrator myself, having gone through 3,600 pages of manuals, I know that it can get cumbersome to do some of the things that need to be done, but to be able to turn around into BCM and do things like being able to patch software, to push out operating systems, things like that, really just makes it easy to use. And that's really kind of what we're talking about here. Is it's easy to deploy, and not only is it easy to deploy with our product, but we're able to deploy the different things we need to maintain, such as patches and these operating rules, to our systems, whether they be local to our IT service center or globally, whether they're on a VPN or not. And because of that, we've really found a lot of different customers that have found a lot of benefit from this, from pharmaceuticals, energy companies. Here's just a screenshot of some of the customers that we have that have been using the BCM product and finding a value out of it. And when we look at that, we have over 1,300 global customers. between the U.S. federal government. We have banking and finance, manufacturing, energy, entertainment, a lot of different customers and different type of customers that are being able to use our product. BCM is installed from very small to very large um, organizations. Our largest organization has over 200,000 clients that we're supporting, over 2,000 branch and offsite locations. Some of these are in almost near dial-up connection type infrastructures. So us being able to maintain that and give them that security for this institution was the reason they picked us over any other product, is because we could make sure that their customers were doing their job on a daily basis without having to worry about an update or a patch coming out and killing their bandwidth so they couldn't perform the actions they need to. Another one of our customers, we have over 5,000 clients on their main campus. It's very easy for us to maintain. And some of our smallest customers, maybe only have 100, or less client devices that we're managing. So we can easily scale to whatever size of environment that you guys focus on. One of the ones I always like to talk about is our global shipper. So we're supporting their clients, these devices, on their at-sea ships. They used to have to apparently have somebody on board that they had to have trained and pay for them to work on board, even though they may not have a client issue for days or weeks at a time. They had to have that person sit there and be ready. And they've been able to do away with that and strictly be able to support these ships at sea with these devices. Another one we have is an energy customer that they have unmanned locations. That they to patch or to take care of these things, they would have to send somebody out in a truck to a very remote substation to take care of these issues. And one of the things about BCM makes us unique is that we're available either on demand or on premise. So on demand, we have a global on-demand presence. We can support our customers anywhere they want to be. If they choose to do it on premise, we have a very lightweight on-premise infrastructure, and it's the same application. It looks like the same application whether they do it on demand or on premise. So for those who aren't familiar with BCM, it is a full lifecycle management tool, from discovery and inventory of products to being able to push out operating systems, applications, whether they be off-the-shelf applications or custom applications. We can do software license management. Not only how many software licenses are used, but we can application monitoring to see if people are using the license the way that they need to. Are they exercising it on a weekly basis or on a daily basis or monthly? Is there a better way we could use that license? We do financial asset management as well. Endpoint compliance, making sure things like, USB devices aren't being able to be used, or, what kind of monitors are there, or printers, or just things that need to be done in your environment that are sometimes hard to pin down. Of course, we talk about remote management. So this is not just remote control, which we do, but also being able to, start processes, stop processes, install files, update the registry. Again, it doesn't require them to be on the VPN. As long as they have this set up, on their machine, they could be, at a coffee shop in Dubai, or at a Starbucks, down the street. We can support them and provide that full lifecycle management for them. Other things we talk about: peripheral management, power management. Relatively new to the product is mobile device management. So being able to set up management on mobile devices so that they can go to a remote location and we can already have things like the Wi-Fi password set up for them, so they don't have to call into the help desk to get that Wi-Fi password set up. And other things like, if we have a sensitive location, we don't allow cameras there, disabling the camera feature on their phone for them, and things like that. As well as the all-important patch management. You look at a lot of the hacks lately that have been happening against, and the information being stolen from these large organizations, it really comes down to unpatched software and backdoors that these people are leveraging, that they're just not aware that they're at risk, or they're an issue. So with BCM, we're able to take care of that. So we've talked a little bit about the integrations, but let's really look at what we can do now with Remedy 9. So of course we know that beginning with Remedy 8, the Smart IT and My IT was restructured and redone to be extremely flexible and to be extremely responsive to the customers and what they expect, in a very digital workforce. So the biggest thing with the My IT we found is we have something called catalog sprawl. Um, One of the things we found is about 49% of our enterprise organizations run 5 or more service catalogs currently. So these are, their IT service catalogs. These are HR. These are business services, hardware, software vendors. And what we found is not only are they running multiple catalogs, but each catalog needs a dedicated IT professional, which is going to have to maintain that and manage that. So that's driving up costs and operating costs and just really slowing down these higher value projects. And now we have multiple portals that the business users need to visit depending on the type of service they're needing. So instead of going to what we're familiar with, like the Amazon interface, and being able to type in, from anything from diapers to, diamonds, it brings us to that one interface, even though they're different catalogs. Our customers weren't finding that within the IT world. They were finding that, for IT services, I had to go to this catalog. HR services, I have to go to this catalog. So the My IT brings that all into one thing called the IT service broker. And some of the things it pulls in, you can see here we talk about the BCM client BMC client management, Amazon Web Services, and into one interface that the customer can use. So when the group looked at bringing in BCM, we had a specific problem that we were trying to solve, and that was really, how do we request software and get it? So one of the biggest challenges that our customers face in Remedy is their business users need to get business productivity software on their machine in order to do their job, whether it's the Microsoft Office, Word, Visio programs, those things like that. One of the things that we found is that there's a long delay between when they request that to when they actually get that delivered. A lot of that delay comes from the approval process, because for many organizations, it's a very manual process, from an email that goes out from me to my boss saying, hey, can I get this? And he has to respond back, yeah, I approve that. And then he sends the email to IT application deployment folks get that. They have to send somebody out with the disk or with an access to that remote share and gets that installed. So what we found with using BCM is that we can give them this catalog of software for their end users in My IT. This is going to capture their requests. Now, what the My IT side does is it goes through the approval routing process, which is very automated. Once one person hits yes, then the next person can hit yes. It's as fast as the process is as fast as it can be if there's the people doing the approvals along the way. But the great thing about it is once that final approval comes, then the BCM connector from Service Broker basically takes that approval and automatically deploys that software service out to the customer. So once that approval is received, we automatically install. We don't have to open another ticket. It's ready to go. So if the software is free software or already pre-approved software, we found with the My IT Service Broker that people can actually request it, and by the time they close out of the browser and go back to their computer, if it's approved, they've already got it there on their computer. So increasing this very dynamic and positive feeling what they're getting with the IT side of things. So that's the My IT integration with that. So with this, just kind of on the back end, what happens is My IT makes a web service call to our server. It checks, makes sure that things are there. It takes that catalog in. So as we get new processes, new items available, we import that. It's always available in that catalog. The nice thing is it gets a list of devices that are connected to that user, that are assigned to that user, so they're not having to select through hundreds of thousands of different devices. But BCM can say, hey, here's the device that's associated to the customer, and then we'll go ahead and install on that specific device, and then that's updated within My IT automatically. So it's a very automated process. The second side of things with the smart IT really came down to, how can I reduce the tools that are used by my service desk in order to get their job done? As we mentioned earlier, more tools mean more time training, maybe poor customer support because they're having to remember, okay, here I have to go in the CDB here, or I need to go into this data sheet here or the spreadsheet here to find this information. It's spread out. It's hard to find. I was at a customer site not long ago, and when the folks call in to get support, they need their machine name, and the machine name is on a tag that's underneath the desktop. So a lot of them have to climb under their computer and pull that up. It's a very manual process. So what we could do with BCM is take that again out of that requirement out of the picture, and we can give the tools in one interface, so the agent's not having to go from tool to tool to find out what may be associated to that user, but we can find it in one place and retrieve it and be able to view up-to-date information, and also to trigger some of these remote actions that we've talked about on these client devices. So we talk about remote support for BCM. And some of the things we can do is, like I said, we can trigger remote actions like being able to check the connection, being able to reboot, shut down, wake up. Now, this is in its first phase of the Smart IT. Smart IT 1.5 was the first integration that we came out with that integrated with BCM. And as more customers come on board with the BCM product within Remedy, we're aiming to get a lot more of the functionality that's already available as integrations within the Remedy Force and the Service Core products right now. But other things we can view within within Remedy is the client configuration details, and this gives us some of that detailed insight into the hardware, the software, even their local system events and security. So just show a quick demonstration of this, a screenshot, but we'll go actually into a live demo and show you how it looks within the product. If you have Smart IT and you're looking at BCM, just some of the technical notes on that is the 1.501, and it's ITSM 8.0 or higher. And if you already have BCM, then we can go back to version 12.1 and support that, or to 12.5. And just some of the iOS things we have. So when we think about what BCM does, we really have it divided up almost into three different personas that we talk about. So our agents are really looking for this ITSM tool integration, right? To be able to use one tool to do their job. They don't have to open up multiple windows. They have to be trained on multiple products, log in a bunch of multiple times. A lot of things our agents are tasked to do to provide them within that tool integration. So being able to deploy software, to be able to patch these applications in these systems, and also to be able to work on these devices, again, no matter where they're located, especially as we get more of a mobile workforce that's being built up, less people in the office and more people working from remote locations. The manager then is really looking for that one UI to manage and view all activity, right? To be able to see where the systems are. Are they patched? What aren't the ones that aren't patched? What's being done with them? To be able to look at compliance, to be able to make sure that the software is being installed and used correctly. That we're not overspending on software. A lot of customers are so concerned about software audits that they actually buy too many licenses. And if you come in and do an audit, of course, if you bought too many pieces of software, they're not going to write you a check for those extra ones, but they're definitely going to ding you for the ones that you haven't paid for. So making sure that you're in compliance either way. But one of the things that I want to come back to is how easy it is to use this product. And management's usually really concerned about this because right now they may already have one or two or three administrators for each of these different catalogs and these products that they're supporting out there. And that could become a very big personnel issue. The nice thing about BCM is it's been built with wizards and instant experts, which really take the people through, the administrators or those who are going to use the product, through the routine steps in a very concise manner. That they go in, they set it, and then they're able to get out the product. They're not having to touch it on a daily basis anymore. And it really cuts down on that need for that dedicated administrator that just works BCM and nothing else. And then, of course, we talk about reporting, and that's good for our management and our executives. Our executives like to see the dashboards that we offer within BCM. They love to have these reports emailed to them and being able to see some of the feeds that go on with there. So one of the things we talk about then is well, on our digital journey, how does this fit in with the ITIL version of things? So BCM really dovetails in well with incident management, being able to associate these client devices to tickets, integrating with incident management to so organizations that we can remotely manage and remotely patch these devices, and identify all these devices associated to users. Service request management, like we talked about with the MyIT, being able to deploy operating systems, to be able to deploy software and those things, as well as problem management. And I think a lot of organizations overlook the power of problem management. We have a customer who was experiencing just a lot of tickets and a lot of maintenance tickets, and we were able to tie it down to a specific vendor's model of a computer that was having problems. Able to call the vendor up and say, hey, look, this specific model we have a lot of issues with. They were able to send out a BIOS update that we could apply and take care of the issue. Without having an automated product that does that, without the reporting and the overall view in, it's hard to determine and troubleshoot problems because you don't have that view into that data and that good, clear vision of what's going on. And I'm sure a lot of you are using SCCM. So one of the things that I like to talk about at this point is how is BCM and SCCM different? SCCM, you've probably got it for free from Microsoft through your volume licensing, which is nice of them to offer. But one of the things we talk about is it's like getting a free puppy from your veterinarian. He knocks on your door, he gives you a free puppy. Well, along with that free puppy comes the need to feed the dog and give it shots and the maintenance on that. So with SCCM, it's kind of like that. They give it to you for free, and it's great for just Windows products. But think about the patching that needs to be done in your environment that is not Windows patching, or your Linux devices that need to have client management, or even Apple devices, that might need remote assistance into. So one of the biggest patch pieces of software that causes the most issues within organizations is number one, Java, and number two is the Adobe products. So without paying for additional licensing from SCCM to do that, it's not going to do it for free. Plus, it's not as easy to use as BCM. And the other thing that we find too is that infrastructure now to support that. With BCM, we can easily do it with a master server and a relay at some of these locations where it may need it. But with SCCM, you're quickly looking at another database. You're looking at another server or two. Plus, what runs on those servers? Well, it's a Microsoft license that you have to purchase as well as that. So it really requires a lot more to run SCCM than BCM, and it becomes quite a bit more expensive to maintain. And most of this requires them to have either a VPN, or if they need to access outside the environment, very difficult to configure because you're accessing multiple ports and multiple protocols to do that. Whereas with BCM, we do it with only the two ports needed, 1610 and 1611. It's quite easy. Most of our network administrators, who can sometimes be some of our biggest stumbling blocks, become our biggest fans with how well we can identify and help these things out. And again, SCCM, you have to spend a lot of time and money and services to get those configured and working together. The other thing I just want to focus on before we go into our demonstration is talking about discovery. So if you already have our discovery tool and you're wondering, well, where does BCM fall into that? It's great. They're complementary. They work well together. So whereas our discovery tool is more of your data center centric, it discovers dependencies between your servers, your network devices, your storage devices, and software. and it takes those dependencies and models those applications and services together. BCM is more of an endpoint centric, right? The client devices that you're going to be using. We do it with an agent base to get the in-depth inventory. So we do initial agentless discovery, but things that we want a more in-depth inventory on, we send out an agent to. With BCM, we're able to deploy software and operating systems, deploy patches, do things like endpoint compliance and remote control. But where BCM and Discovery work together, and if you have the Atrium CMDB, this is great because we have that integration with them. We can follow all of your IP-based devices, whether they're routers, printers, whatever. We can do it agentless, and we can gather some of these inventory attributes and update that CMDB for you. So they're complementary. They work very well together. So any questions before I go into the demonstration?
We do have one question. Does SCCM or does BCM replace SCCM?
It depends on what the organization is leveraging with SCCM. If it's strictly just client management, doing remote desktops and things like that, then yes, we can easily replace that. Some of the larger organizations may have some of the more complex features going in with a SCCM. Again, it just depends on how mature they are and how much SCCM is being leveraged in their system. But we do look at ourselves as a replacement for SCCM.
Excellent, thanks.
So here's Smart IT. One of the quick ways to go in here and to find a device, I could either create a ticket and associate that to a user, or I can, search for it really quickly as well. I'll do a search here real quick, and we'll bring up that desktop information. So what it's doing right now is it's doing a live query of the BCM server, and it's pulling that information from BCM that's live, whether it's, when it's done its last scan, and it will pull that in here to the screen that we'll see here in a second. So understand that some of the differences between some of the different products that we have or that are available to do this is some of them are going to use cached information. So information that may be 24, 48, or how many hours old, whereas the BCM with the integration in, that information is live information. It's up to date. It's showing me what the CPU is running, what the operating system is running. So really quickly here, I can see the desktop. I can see the information that's associated to it. I can see it's a latitude, it's Dell latitude. I could show financial information on it. It's cost center, it's purchase cost, all that information. And if I wanted to view the full asset, I'll see some of the tools that are available now. And like I said, when the additional versions of Smart IT comes out, they're going to be offering a lot more different things as well. So one of the things that's coming up in the next release that we've talked about with the Smart IT team is the ability to automatically generate an incident from within the BCM and have that go within the Smart IT. But some of the things that are available right now is I can do the asset details. We can do an audit now, so we can look at the compliance right now. We can check the connection, we can reboot it, we can shut it down, and we can wake it up. So there's a lot of, this is right there within the Smart IT system. Again, we're not having to train our agent to go out to a different system and take a look at it and go, open up 2 or 3 to get this information. It's all there right there. So the client management tool is what we're looking at right now. And this is where I like to point out that this is where it's very easy to use the client management tool. Everything's given to me in one UI. One of our big competitors out there has multiple UIs because they've purchased different products to do some of the things that BCM does. They haven't been able to figure out how to get it within one UI. But here, everything I need to do is here that one screen for me. And there are things that are accessible up here in the wizards, like our agent rollout, doing discovery, things like that, where it will take me through these most common steps, and the wizard will walk me through that. The other thing we talk about is our instant experts. So if you look here on the lower right-hand side, these instant experts really take you through being able to do things like, let's say, an application license. So instead of it giving me a wizard, it's actually taking me through the product and the best steps to do it. So when I clicked on these manage application licenses, when I'm ready, I can read the knowledge base article up here at the top of the screen. And you can see over here on the left-hand side, it took me to the application management menu, and it's highlight, so I can see where the product wants me to go. It's telling me, it's taking me through. It's going to prompt me for some information. When I'm ready, I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and hit next through the product. And as I need to go through different steps, you can see it's going to change. Now there's actually a query that we can write in that. Now it's taking me to it's highlighted the queries over here on the left-hand side, and I can see where it wants me to go. So again, it's like a knowledge base, but a knowledge base that's going to walk you through step by step on how to go through that. So we talked about being able to discover our assets, no matter where they're at, as long as they have an IP address to them. And so here in the device topology, we have a couple of different views in which we can view our assets. So our first one, our most important one, is our client management topology. So I can see where my master server is. So this is where I like to talk about what a lightweight infrastructure this is. So I have a master server. We're supporting about 200 devices with this particular setup that we have here in our demo system. And if I were to need additional devices or additional places set up, you can see how easy it is to see where they're connected. I can see what's in red. Maybe it hasn't connected in 24 hours. And there's different things available to me right here within this that I can access. So this AMP client, these tools that we just showed in Smart AT, those are here with some additional ones as well. So I could look at its file system right now. I could look at the registry, its Windows events, and see what's going on. I can even launch a remote control from right here, and it's going to open the remote control screen for me. I'll be able to go in and actually manage this device and take control of it. You can see it takes me right in. We'll go ahead and log in real quick. So I haven't had to open up, again, like I said, multiple screens to go in to take care of it. Just have to remember the very difficult password here. And when it comes up, then I have full access to this, to the computer. The great thing about it is we can do controls on it as well. So those who don't have access to certain machines, like they be executive machines or in a different department, they won't even see the devices, but they won't even see the remote control available to them to go there and take a look at that. All right, I'm going to close this one out. So it took me in. I could do remote control from that. Some of the other things within the device topology then is I can see the network topology. So one of our support guys likes to call this our network fault finding tool. And because we do a full Nmap discovery, we can find things in a network topology that maybe our own network folks don't know exists there. Maybe an extra node or something there that exists in the network that they weren't aware of. So again, we find that our network folks really like this tool, being able to show them areas in their network that they may need to focus on in order to take care of issues. And then our connectivity topology. So this is now going to show me everything that I find that's connected in my network that has an IP address. So I can see things like this Iris, which is a wireless router. I can see this, it's an IP phone, this 10.5.93.20. This device here, this is a Linux device, which we haven't put a client on yet, but we could easily do that. I can see if there are Mac devices, Windows devices, what have you, manage those and take care of those. And that's really where another one of the flexibilities within the product comes, is being able to create these device groups and be able to segregate them in such a way that they're managed differently. So we may have like a European office that needs to have different patches applied to it, and we have to handle in a different way than we would handle our U.S. office or our office in China. We can, put these in groups that they take care of differently, whether it be by IP or by machine name. Okay, we want to set that up. We can set that up so those devices and even users, if somebody is a user in HR, we can create a user group that says HR, and they get these devices and these things installed and these programs. But once they move out of HR and maybe move into sales, then they maybe get the Oracle application, uninstalled, and we install maybe the Salesforce icon on their desktop for them, and being able to do things like that. Talked a little bit about our mobile device management, so being able to look at mobile devices. Right now we're supporting the iOS devices, and soon we hope to be supporting Android devices as well. But with iOS, things we can set up again there is what applications they can install on that device. Things that they shouldn't be able to install on the device. If there's certain applications we don't want them to install that may not be, in accordance to what our organization standards are. And other things we can send to them are some different commands. And we'll just create those commands. I'll show you some of those. So we can do remote wipes. We can lock the device. We can unlock the device. We can install applications. We can, do some of those things that we really need to do, again, within one interface as opposed to many different ones. OS deployment, which is a big area for a lot of our IT departments, is being able to, push out these operating systems on these new devices. You purchase from a vendor, you purchase a computer. One of the things about purchasing that is you're usually paying $20 to $30 for them to install an operating system that you're going to do away with anyway, because you're going to put your own, custom, operating system that you guys have developed for within your organization. So why even spend that? They can actually send you a bare metal machine, and with our built within BCM, we can listen for those to be booted up, and we can start it and have a fully unattended installation of all the products, including operating system, software, all the things that they need to have installed. We can do that. Basically, all our customers do is they plug in their bare metal machines, they come back a few hours later, unplug it, and install it where it needs to be used by their customers. Software packages, again, I mentioned earlier that we could do one-offs, so those custom applications, or we can do off-the-shelf applications as well. And based off of your service catalog, is there approvals needed or not? Once those approvals are reached, or if it's software that doesn't require approval, then we can install that automatically here. One of the benefits of using our packaging is that if we've installed that product on the machine, we have ability to look at see if things were modified. If somebody goes into a temp file and deletes things out that are necessary for our product to run, we can actually self-heal and see where those files are missing and reinstall those. So we're cutting down calls that you may receive. And other things that we can do on those packages, we tell how often somebody is using that product. So we mentioned Visio earlier. That can be very expensive. If somebody's using Visio, it says I use it on a daily, weekly basis, and I need to have it. The monitoring can actually say, hey, this person uses it twice a year, and maybe we could reallocate that license to somebody else who could use it and leverage it more. So we offer that within our software licensing. Patch management, again, one of the biggest security concerns of our customers that we deal with is is what we have patched. Are these patches available, and how often are they getting patched? Sometimes we find that within these patch jobs, there are certain things that have to be run right away, or others that have to wait. We have to wait either through a change window that we've approved. We can adhere to those within our patch management job, leveraging our library. We can patch software that you may not even know exists in your organization. Now, with our compliance tool, we can actually prevent that software from being run in your organization. But if you're not leveraging that, we can say, hey, if like WinZip, for instance, is there, and we didn't know it was, but it has a patch. If there's a critical patch, we can install that automatically, or if we have a change window that it needs to go into, we can install that within that change window. So again, BCM is very flexible, very powerful in what it can do and what it can detect and keep us protected against that we may not even know that we need to be protected against. So we talked about compliance management. One of the things that I like to focus on is SCAP. So this is becoming more and more prevalent here in the United States, but it's going to become important globally as well. More folks are working with the federal government. They're going to see that these SCAP are required. They're able to prove SCAP compliance in order to maintain their ability to work with the federal government. And these things are, are firewalls installed? Is virus protection installed? Do we prevent USB devices from being used? What USB devices need to be encrypted? Those things, that information that we can do within compliance management, and we can validate. And not only can we validate that it's there, but if it's not there, we can use these operating rules, these operational rules that would automatically patch that, fix the issue for us. So again, we're not having to be manually involved. Everything's being done for us automatically. Application management, we can tell, are we, using too much of a product? Do we need to purchase more licenses? Those different things. We can even prevent software from being used during the day. So a lot of our customers use Oracle. Oracle can, if they're pulling against a production database, maybe we only want one group to use it from 8 to 5 on Monday, and the next group to use it from 8 to 5 on Tuesday. We can actually prevent that reporting software from being run during certain hours so that you can do that. Or even iTunes. You don't want iTunes run during the day because you don't have the bandwidth to support it. You can shut down iTunes, during the workday, but then it's available after that. So we offer just a very flexible way to take care of that. Most of what we do is based off of queries. We have a ton of reports. We have our reporting tool here that we can email reports out, send those reports on a daily basis. And then the last thing I'll focus on that we'll be integrating again in with Remedy is the ability to create incidents based off of alerts or events that we notice within BCM and things that maybe we've already patched and taken care of, so that reporting can be, so we can do that problem management and that reporting can kind of all come together. So that's a really quick overview of the BCM tool, as well as how it's integrating right now with Remedy and kind of how we want to integrate in the future. Is there any other questions?
No questions at this time. If anybody has any questions, please put it in the Q&A section, and I'm happy to get answers for you. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, great job, Joel. Thank you very much for doing that.
Well, thank you, Matt and Valerie, for doing this. We appreciate RightStar and what you guys do with BCM and BMC. Those acronyms get mixed up. But we appreciate your time in doing this, and anything we can do to help you or your customers, we're here for.
Awesome. And for everybody else, RightStar, again, consultancy, we can help you with your current tools if you're on Remedy or a BMC platform. We can also help you if you're interested in the BCM solution. We can do on-site demos. We can do deeper dives than the one today. We can help you set up a proof of concept and discuss with you the benefits and the ROI on implementing this product in your environment. All right. So if you have any questions, please give us a call. Our contact info is there on the screen, and we greatly appreciate your time. And hopefully we'll be able to see you on another presentation here in the near future. All right. Thanks. Have a good day, everyone.